6 years of dedication, I turned the marketing department from nothing into a team of 4, but the team lead title kept slipping away like a bitter joke. When my boss hinted at a promotion, I got hopeful, only to get a slap in the face. They picked an outsider. Worse, I had to train the one who stole my spot. Would I just take it or fight back? A careless remark from a new coworker pushed me to the edge, and the answer's about to come out. I'd poured 6 years of my life into this company, a medium-sized outfit that felt like home when I first walked through its doors. Back then, there wasn't even a whisper of a marketing department, just a blank slate and a vague idea from the higher-ups. They tapped me to start it from scratch, and I jumped at the chance, fueled by ambition and a stubborn need to prove myself. For 2 years, I was a one-person army, crafting campaigns, juggling deadlines, and keeping every detail in check. I didn't just build the department, I was the department, and the results spoke for themselves. My numbers were sharp, my work polished, and soon enough, my manager couldn't ignore it. He went straight to the boss, pushing for a bonus to reward my grind. It landed, a small win, but it felt like validation. As the company stretched its legs, the workload grew fangs. What was once manageable for one became a beast I couldn't tame alone. They saw it too, and after some deliberation, they tossed me a lifeline. A team. Suddenly, it was 4 of us. Me and 3 fresh faces I handpicked and trained from the ground up. I taught them the ropes, showed them every trick I'd mastered, and kept the machine humming. We clicked, and the department thrived under my lead. But here's where the cracks started showing. My title stayed stuck as marketing agent. No promotion, no nod to the sweat I'd poured in, just the same old label. I'd built this thing from nothing, led a team through the chaos, and still, I was just an agent. It stung, but I swallowed it, figuring hard work would eventually force their hand. I brought it up to my manager one rainy afternoon, cornering him after a meeting. "Look," I said, voice steady but edged with frustration, "I'm doing the job of a marketing manager. Leading, training, delivering. Isn't it time my title caught up?" He leaned back, scratched his chin, and gave me that vague corporate smile. "We'll see what we can do," he said, words dangling like bait I couldn't quite grab. I nodded, clinging to that shred of hope, and went back to work. Months dragged on, and nothing changed. No raise, no new title, just more of the same. I kept pushing, kept the team sharp, but the silence from above started to feel personal. Had they even taken me seriously? Or was I just a cog they didn't bother to polish? Every late night I spent tweaking campaigns. Every early morning I dragged myself in to rally the team. It was all for something, right? I wasn't asking for a crown. I just wanted what I'd earned. The department was my blood and sweat, a living thing I'd nursed from infancy. But as the company ballooned, I started wondering if they saw me as the architect, or just the hired help. Little did I know, the real gut punch was still brewing, waiting to knock the wind out of me. For now, though, I kept my head down, chasing a finish line I wasn't sure existed. After 6 years of grinding, building the marketing department from a blank slate into a tight-knit team of 4, I'd earned my stripes, or so I thought. The sting of staying a marketing agent despite leading the crew gnawed at me, but I held on to the belief that my loyalty and results would pay off. Then came the bombshell. One crisp Monday, my manager called me into his office, the fluorescent lights buzzing like a warning. He leaned forward, hands clasped, and dropped the news. The boss was creating a marketing team lead role. My heart leapt. This was it, the recognition I'd been chasing. "You started this department," he said, his tone measured but promising. "You've got the most experience, trained the team, kept us ahead. I'd say you're the obvious pick." I left that meeting buzzing, imagining the title finally mine after years of proving myself. Days turned into weeks, and I waited, riding the high of that conversation. I pictured the announcement, my boss calling me in, shaking my hand, acknowledging the empire I'd built. I even rehearsed how I'd break the news to the team, keeping it humble but firm. But the silence stretched on, and an uneasy itch crept in. Then, during a routine team huddle, my manager casually mentioned they were finalizing the team lead decision. His eyes didn't meet mine, and my stomach twisted. Later that afternoon, I got the email. "We're excited to announce we're hiring a marketing team lead externally." Externally? The word hit like a brick. I reread it, hoping I'd misunderstood, but there it was, black and white, cold as ice. The betrayal sank in slow, then all at once. I'd been the first, the foundation, the one who knew every playbook by heart. 6 years of late nights, scrapped campaigns, and victories I'd clawed for, reduced to nothing. They'd gone outside, picked someone with no history here, no skin in the game. I stormed into my manager's office, voice shaking but steady. "Why wasn't I considered?" I demanded, hands gripping the chair. He shifted, uncomfortable, and muttered, "The boss just couldn't see you as team lead." Couldn't see me? After everything? It wasn't just rejection, it was a gut punch to my worth. My mind raced. Was it my style, my results, or had they never taken me seriously? That night, I sat alone in my apartment, the hum of the fridge mocking the silence. The humiliation burned, hot and sharp. I'd built this machine, and they'd handed the keys to a stranger. At work, I kept my head down, but every meeting felt like salt in the wound. The team noticed my edge, but I brushed it off. I wasn't ready to unpack the mess. Not yet. All I knew was the trust I'd had in this place was crumbling, and something inside me was starting to shift. The fight wasn't over, but the rules had changed. For now, I'd play their game, but I wasn't the same person who'd walked into that office months ago. The sting of being passed over for team lead still festered after they hired someone external, a decision that left me reeling from part 2 of this saga. I'd built the marketing department from nothing over 6 years, trained the team, and kept us winning, only to watch my shot at leadership slip through my fingers. Now, I was stuck training this new team lead, a polite stranger who'd waltzed into the role I'd earned. It was a bitter pill, but I swallowed it, keeping things professional while my insides churned. Every explanation I gave them felt like handing over pieces of myself, and the humiliation from my manager's words, "Boss couldn't see you as team lead," echoed louder each day. Then came the new hire. One of the original team members had jumped ship, leaving a gap that the company filled with a bright-eyed recruit last month. With the team lead off on vacation, ironic timing, I got the call to train them. I didn't argue. I just nodded and got to work, walking them through the systems I'd perfected. We clicked well enough, and as we chatted over coffee breaks, I let slip my story. 6 years, starting the department, training everyone. It felt good to say it out loud, to remind myself I wasn't invisible. But then, mid-sentence, they tilted their head, eyes soft with pity, and said, "So, all that just to not be team lead?" The words landed like a slap, casual, unguarded, but razor-sharp. I froze, a tight laugh escaping my lips as my chest tightened. Their tone, that look, it wasn't malice, but it cut deeper than anything my boss had said. The rest of the training session blurred. I powered through, voice clipped, showing them the basics while my mind spun. That comment looped in my head, taunting me. Was that how people saw me now? A cautionary tale? The guy who built it all and got nothing? I finished early, muttered something about a deadline, and retreated to my desk. The day dragged, emails unanswered, campaigns half-baked. The next day was worse. I barely spoke, my focus shattered. My numbers, once my pride, started slipping, and the quality I'd fought for felt optional. I couldn't shake the weight of that pitying stare or the simmering rage beneath it. By week's end, I was a ghost at work, present but hollow. The team sensed it. Hushed whispers followed me out of meetings. I'd always been the steady one, the glue, but now I was unraveling. That rookie's offhand remark had cracked something open, a flood of doubt and exhaustion I'd kept dammed up since the team lead snub. I replayed it at night, their voice mixing with my manager's dismissal, until it was a chorus of failure. I wasn't sure who I was angrier at, them, the company, or myself for still showing up. The fight in me flickered, but it wasn't dead. Not yet. For now, though, I was drifting, caught between pride and a slow, creeping apathy. The fallout from part 3 lingered like a bruise, the new hire's cutting remark, "So, all that just to not be team lead," still echoing, amplifying the sting of training the external team lead who'd taken my rightful spot. I was a mess, my drive gutted, my work slipping into a haze of indifference. But something shifted. I couldn't keep handing over my soul to a company that didn't see me. When they'd asked me to train the new team lead months back, I'd gritted my teeth and done it, teaching them the essentials, the surface-level tricks to keep the department afloat. But the deep knowledge, the strategies I'd honed over 6 years, the shortcuts I'd bled for, I held those close, a quiet rebellion. Let the company figure out how to fill the gaps. I wasn't their endless well anymore. That choice haunted me, though. Every time the team lead stumbled in a meeting, fumbling through a process I could have explained blindfolded, I felt a flicker of guilt and a rush of grim satisfaction. I'd given them enough to survive, not thrive. It was petty, sure, but it was mine. Then the new hire came along, and despite my resolve, I'd trained them properly, until that comment shattered me. It was a wake-up call. I couldn't keep drifting here, half in, half out. So late one night, fueled by coffee and a simmering defiance, I dusted off my resume. I'd been comfortable too long, tethered by benefits and friendships, but comfort wasn't worth this slow bleed. I started applying, team lead roles, manager positions, anywhere that might value what I'd built. The job hunt was brutal. Rejections piled up, each one a jab at my already frayed confidence. The market was a wasteland, but I kept at it, tweaking cover letters, chasing leads. Meanwhile, at work, I wore a mask, smiling through gritted teeth, dodging the team lead unless absolutely necessary. Their friendly nods grated. I didn't want their kindness, just my due. One afternoon, they asked for help on a campaign I'd designed years back. I walked them through it, voice flat, withholding the nuances that made it sing. They didn't notice, but I did, and it fueled me. I wasn't sabotaging them, I was protecting me. Weeks ticked by, my inbox a mix of, "We regret to inform you," and silence. Doubt crept in, maybe I wasn't cut out for more. But then, a hit, an interview for a marketing team lead gig at a smaller firm. I prepped like my life depended on it, channeling 6 years of grit into every answer. The call came on a rainy Tuesday. "You're in." I stared at the phone, heart pounding, a lifeline finally within reach. I hadn't won yet, but I'd stopped losing. Back at the office, I kept it quiet, playing my role while plotting my exit. The company could lean on me all they wanted. Until I walked out that door, they'd never know what hit them. For now, I'd bide my time, my secret victory burning bright. From part 4, I'd clawed my way out of the mire, securing a marketing team lead role at a new company after months of rejection and quiet rebellion. I'd held back my deepest knowledge from the usurping team lead, trained the new hire just enough, and finally broke free from the stagnation that had choked me. The day I handed in my notice was electric. I walked into my boss's office, resume still warm from its victory lap, and laid the letter on his desk. "I'm leaving," I said, voice steady. "Got a team lead position elsewhere." His face froze, shock, then a flash of panic. "We can match the salary," he blurted, leaning forward, hands splayed like he could physically hold me there. I almost laughed. "It's not about the money," I replied, cool and final. "It's time for me to grow." He pressed harder, voice rising. "What can we do to keep you?" Desperation flickered in his eyes, but I stayed firm. "Nothing," I said, polite but unyielding. "I've given 6 years. That's enough." He slumped back, jaw tight, and I walked out, adrenaline surging. Word spread fast. By lunch, whispers trailed me down the halls. Later, my manager pulled me aside, relaying the boss's rant. I was disloyal, throwing them under the bus. I smirked. They'd thrown me first. The irony was rich. They'd only seen my value when I stopped being theirs to use. Packing my desk that week felt surreal. 6 years of files, coffee stains, and late-night triumphs reduced to a single box. Colleagues stopped by, some teary, others clapping my shoulder with quiet respect. I'd missed them, the road trips, the camaraderie, but not the weight of being overlooked. Before I left, I cornered my manager one last time. "Tell me straight," I said, notebook ready. "Why didn't I get team lead here?" He sighed, glancing away. "They made it admin-heavy, reports, evaluations, less marketing. You were too good at the real work. They didn't want to lose that." I nodded, scribbling it down. It made sense in a twisted corporate way, but it didn't erase the sting. "Screw that," I muttered under my breath. "I'd rather lead elsewhere than be a prized cog here." As I walked out that final day, keys jangling, I felt the grudge lift. Not gone, but lighter. The new job loomed, a challenge I'd earned, not begged for. I'd stopped threatening to leave and just did it. No ultimatums, no groveling. The boss's flustered face replayed in my mind, a trophy I'd carry quietly. They'd underestimated me, assumed I'd stay their loyal soldier forever. But I wasn't handcuffed to their game. I'd built something once, I could do it again. The parking lot stretched ahead, empty and vast, mirroring the space I'd carved for myself. I tossed the box in my trunk, slid into the driver's seat, and pulled away, free, finally, to chase what I'd always deserved.